the product, the process, the people. Ethos Decorum.
James Hackley, Chief Style Officer with Bespokenotbroke. Bespokenotbroke, it's a clever way, basically, to empower folks to go out and look fabulous without spending a lot of money. As a matter of fact, the term bespoke, once upon a time, you would go to a tailor, get a piece of cloth, and that cloth was told to have been bespoken for. So they would start with a cloth, make particular garments and whatnot just for you. So what we do here is we have vintage and upscale pieces and even military pieces just for our customers. Camo. 30% of our customers are ladies and growing. Nowadays, if you look in the Vogue, Elle magazine, you will see this woodland camo pattern. Ladies are using it everything from a cover up to a jacket to a shirt. A lot of ladies are copying this pattern as well. But the woodland camo, it's a timeless look. But the folks, Swiss Army, this vintage Alpenflog field jacket is absolutely vicious. Out of all the pieces that I've ever had come through my fingers, this jacket is my absolute favorite. Why, you may ask? Because it has 15 million pockets. It's a beast. There's some heft to this. And also it has inside pockets as well. So even some of the guys who come through, still out there in the streets trapping, they like this jacket as well because it hides things from the man. Eisenhower jackets as well. Ike made this jacket, this style, absolutely popular. It terminates at the waist. It's a very good look, men and women. Women love this Ike jacket as well. And last but not least, there are so many different patterns we can show, but this is one of my favorite. I cop it, the flight suit. Now the flight suit has been around for a long time. You can have it, a flight suit, it's actual military flight suit. Aviators wear this thing. You have mechanic suits, guys who work on, be it tanks or be it airplane, they have a coverall suit that looks like this. And then we have something now known as the romp hem, which is a male romper. Personally, I believe it's a trendy item. Looking at the price points, you buy a short set, a one piece, between $90 and $110. Brilliant marketing, but the romp hem, next year it'll be in the Five Below store. Things like this, flight jackets, flight suits, they are timeless. And ladies love these things as well. Be it a guy or lady, you'll put patches all over it, just personalize this flight suit. I was rocking one yesterday when the weather was 60 something degrees. That's all you need. You don't need a jacket on and you're good to go. Digital camo. A lot of folks like the woodland camo, but out of my camo, some folks just don't like the digital camo as well. I rock them all. But if you've grown up thinking of woodland camo was the only camo, this camo pattern goes back a long time. As a matter of fact, the Vietnam era, a lot of guys coming home really made the camo popular during the Vietnam era, during Woodstock, and during the whole civil rights protests. This woodland camo has a long history. U.S. military decided to switch things up in the digital age. They went towards the digital camo. A lot of folks aren't feeling that. And there's also a lighter chocolate chip camo that we don't have as well. And this is the desert camo. A lot of us saw this during our involvement in Kuwait and Iraq, Operation Desert Seal, Desert Storm. Once again, I rock them all, but to each his own.
What's your definition of vintage and what's your definition of upscale resale?
Very good question. Vintage historically is anything older than 20 years. So here we are, 2017. It's kind of wild to imagine, but prior to 1997 now, it's considered vintage. Upscale resale, that's going to be the Armani pieces, the Hermes pieces, the Versace pieces, all of those pieces that a lot of times people can't afford the original price. So with upscale resale, it's a secondhand placement. You can't afford my favorite designers out of England, Oswald Boateng. When he drops his suit, a lot of times it could be $4 or $5 grand. Not too many people can afford $4 or $5 grand, but 500, that's a bit more palatable. My customers, first and foremost, they're amazing and loyal. This whole Bespokenotbroke enterprise started over a little 3 years, maybe 4 years now. The demographics, I'm always looking behind the scenes. Predominantly male. 70% of my customers are men. 30% of women and growing thanks to introduction of military. Racial profiles, diverse, black, white, Hispanic, from all around the globe. Everyone loves vintage, everyone loves style, and everyone loves quality as well.
How did you get started into vintage and upscale resale? How did that story?
Yeah, I guess it's more than that. It's like, how did Bespoke Not Broke begin? My personal story, I dropped 50 pounds. I've always been in sales. So when you're traveling around the place, always on the road, you kind of pick up a little weight and comfort food. So I was able to drop 50 pounds in 4 months, kept it off. And being in sales, I always looked fly. And when I lost the weight, I had to get rid of all my clothing. And I had Thomas Pink French cuff shirts, $150 a pop. I had to get all those shirts away. And when I went out to try to re-up my wardrobe, I vowed never to spend another $150 for a shirt. So I started going to estate places, thrift stores, and all kinds of vintage shops. And about the 100th time, someone asked me, "Where did you get that?" Being a salesperson, I'm like, this is a business opportunity. So from that, Bespoke Not Broke was born.
What are some of the things that you took from your sales job that you applied to your own personal business?
It's all about relationships. Dale Carnegie said it best, that people buy from people. If they don't like you, they're not going to like what you're selling. So it's always about customer service. And one thing, because we have the various locations all over DC, one thing I always ask my customers, like, how were you treated? Because it doesn't matter, because if they walk into Polly Sue's or at Vintage and Charm or wherever, Georgetown, and if they're rude, they're gonna be like, Bespoke Not Broke was rude. They don't differentiate because they went there for the brand. So customer service is paramount, and the money takes care of itself. You have too many businesses out there that are chasing the money, and as a result, they're ticking off their customers. But because of customers, that's why businesses are able to thrive or, go out of business because of bad, poor customer service.
When you're looking to add something to your inventory, what are some of the things you look for? What are some of the things that are requirements in order for you to add to your inventory?
My first rule is that if I wouldn't rock it, I don't cop it. So I don't care if it's a size 34 or a size 64. If I can't see myself rocking it, I don't buy it. So with that said, when this company started, I was still traveling all over the US. So I would travel with a suitcase inside of a suitcase. So after I finished my main job, I would go out collecting pieces and all of that stuff. So if I'm in the Southwest, I'm getting Western wear type of flavor that folks don't see on the East Coast. California has a different vibe. Midwest has a different vibe as well. But my thing is, I would just fit those pieces all over and they would all be under the Bespoke Not Broke empire, umbrella rather. Empire, I guess, is prophetic thinking.
What's some of the craziest pieces that you collected that just surprised you? Like,
yeah, I don't care how long you've been, everyone gets into the vintage thing first and foremost for the love of it. So we are collectors, and then that collecting becomes it can be a hobby, and the next thing you know, a business is born from it. But everyone has at least that one piece that they regret selling. That particular piece for me is a Ralph Lauren, it's a scribble pattern. It was a sweater, if you will, for, what's the game with the bat? Cricket, yeah, the cricket sweater. I got rid of that bad boy, and I'm like, man, because they don't make them anymore. I can't find them anymore, and it was mad dope. Other than that cricket sweater, also there was a saltwater crocodile briefcase. It's about this big, beautiful briefcase. It was valued about $7 grand. I sold that, and then I'm like, man, I should have kept that as well. So there are always those pieces, but in this thing, cool pieces always come along. Day in, day out, always come along.
You also do some consulting.
Style, and that's the thing with men. First and foremost, a lot of men are colorblind. Stats say that 1 out of every 25 men are colorblind. It's kind of high. So with that said, we don't know what goes together, and then some men just don't care about what goes together. So their wives, significant others, a lot of times they'll reach out to me and get their man a gift certificate, like, we want you to come in and style my guy, or go through his closet and give him some hints. So it's image consultant, because at the end of the day, the better we look, the better we feel, and it puts a pep in our step as well.
Do you have a format for image consulting? Like, you speak to the customer first, find out all
I go directly to the customers, the person who's going to wear, because they have to be able to own the look. So one thing I'm asking, the first question I ask is, what type of look do you want to project? Now in DC, it's a very conservative place with the government, the military, and with conservative places, your dress is going to be conservative as well. So the guys in their suiting, it can't be too far out. So we have to stick with the blues, the grays, the charcoals, those colors, but we kind of freak it up a little bit with ties or pocket squares or even wrist wear as well. So we ask the individual, what type of look do you want to project? And that's what we do. Now we go into their closets. If they have things in their closet that aren't consistent with the image that they want to project, then we just cull those things in the closet and then just start the re-upping, building from scratch as well. And to redo your image, you don't have to do everything at once. It could be a gradual process as well. That'll be easier on the pockets. My favorite brands, without a doubt, is going to be Ralph Lauren. I pattern my whole business model after Ralph as well. He was a sales guy. A lot of times folks don't know that. He started off sales actually working for Brooks Brothers. Had military experience as well. He actually did custom ties. Now from making ties, he was able to build a $5 billion business, which is absolutely incredible. But it was his passion that lit him. So Ralph Lauren, Tommy as well. I believe Tommy bit after Ralph. Ralph bit after Brooks Brothers. But I mentioned there earlier, Oswald Boateng out of the UK. I love that brand as well. And then just quality brands that have a niche out there, like Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton, it's a timeless thing. I love the monogram pattern personally. Some of the folks love the damier, but I'm a monogram type of person. And another brand as well that a lot of folks don't know, but I'm up on that, in Goyard, another French brand. Things like that. Anything that has its own niche, its own lane that they've developed, I'm partial to that.
How would you best describe your personal style?
My personal style is that of a timeless style. Day in, day out, I usually have at least one vintage piece on. And that's the thing about vintage. Let's pause there. A lot of times people think that by vintage, as I said earlier, that's typically 20 years. You don't have to look like you're straight out of the 70s or 80s. That's if you're going to a costume or theme party. But vintage in particular, you can rock it with a modern look. Today, vintage sweater, jeans on, and harness boots is a timeless look. A lot of wrist wear. A lot of times, I believe that you show your style by your jewelry as well, because it's all about the details. It's all about the details.